Hey there, and welcome to Strength in Sisterhood, the podcast where faith, friendship, and fierce encouragement come together.
We're here to share stories that will inspire and lift each other up while we grow in faith together.
No matter where you are, we're here to remind you that you are never alone. With God and a little sisterhood, we're stronger together.
So grab a cup of coffee and get ready to be encouraged and empowered.
Hello, and welcome to Strength in Sisterhood. I'm Amy.
And I'm Summer.
And we're really glad that you're here today. I am looking forward to our topic today. Our topic today is joy comes in the morning. We've talked about this. Well, this was kind of a topic that a couple weeks ago we had an episode. I think it was our Trusting Jesus episode. And because I kind of just felt like this heaviness, right? With all the things, all the events that were going on in the world of, Israel and Iran. And I don't know, it felt like there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel that heaviness lately. Like it's just, there's been a lot going on, and there's always a lot going on. It's just in our realm.
I was going to say, it is a little closer to home.
Yeah.
This week.
Premature babies being born and work accidents happening and people being airlifted to the hospital. And prayer list is filled with multiple people battling cancer and just serious stuff. There's just a lot of serious stuff. So I kind of just felt this heaviness. And so when we sat down and we're talking about some podcast topics, this verse came to my mind, and it's out of Psalm 30, verse 5, which says, "For his anger endureth but for a moment, in his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning." And that's just such a good promise. And it made me think of when we're in that night, when we're in that moment of weeping. And granted, it may not even be a literal moment. It might be more like a season. It's really hard. I know we've talked about depression, and being in a funk and stuff like that. It's really hard to ever think that I'm going to experience joy again.
Right. Yeah.
But that is such a strong promise. It's just as true of a promise as anything else in the Bible.
That's right.
Joy comes in the morning.
Mm.
Joy always awaits, even whether it be in this life. And if we're saved, we know that the next is going to be filled with it.
Amen.
And so, I don't want to get too deep into it.
We do that every time. We get so excited.
I know. Or we should introduce the topic. And then before we do our first fill up our cup segment. Okay, well then next thing you know, I just get the ball rolling. And,
I know.
Okay, well, doing it again. Let's go fill up our cup, Summer.
All right.
Okay, Summer, so what filled up your cup this week?
The other night, my boys did a cooking contest or cook-off, and this was kind of spur of the moment. They brought it up like the day was almost done. I was about to start getting supper going, and they wanted to do this cook-off. And inside, I was extremely hesitant. Like, they're going to make a mess of the kitchen, and the food's probably not going to taste good from one of them, at least. And because
I love the faith that you have in your sons.
Well, I'm honest.
That's true.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Why?
I'm pretty blunt about those kind of things. Like, let's just call out your talents where they are.
Yeah.
And the ones that aren't really talents just yet, we're just going to be honest about those two.
Call a spade a spade.
I thought, okay, well, just let them have fun. It's going to be fine. So I knew because of that, I needed to leave the room. I don't need to be even on the same floor as them. So after we had supper, I made them, we all cleaned up. We always clean up from supper. And me and Brandon went upstairs. And he took a shower and stuff, and I was watching TV. And I just kind of let them do their thing down here. I had to come down to refill my water or something. And I just saw them. They both are videoing themselves during this cook-off. So they each have their phones videoing themselves, and they're talking to the camera like
in 2025.
That's what you do as a kid, I guess. Yeah, that's true. So I took a picture of that. But one of them was making spaghetti, and the other one was making mac and cheese. Okay. And they were not to use a recipe, or I think something with the recipe, like they were able to get certain ideas off of a recipe, but they couldn't use the whole recipe or something like that.
Okay.
So they did, and I heard a lot of clanking around and cabinets closing, real hard. And I'm
Mhm.
just kind of inside. I'm like, oh, it's going to be a disaster in there. But I did tell them, you have to clean all of it up yourself. Like my
Right.
kitchen better look just as good as before I started cooking. So, like, okay, we'll clean it all up. Well, a little while later, they had an hour. They gave themselves an hour.
Okay. This is
Well,
Iron Chef stuff.
yes, exactly. So they came upstairs and brought us their plate and they like literally plated it. You know how they like make it look real pretty?
Yes.
So the spaghetti was like spun on a fork and then pulled down. So it like had this like little tower of spaghetti. It was funny. They did garnish both of their plates. The only garnish I have that's usable is cilantro. So both of them were plated with cilantro. I didn't eat that with it. But
It's not exactly something that would go with
no, 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 not at all. So we each tried one and we had to grade them based off of, I think, smell, the looks, and then the taste.
presentation. Yeah.
And so I was actually pretty impressed, especially with my oldest son. He is not good in the kitchen. I mean, he'll put the forks where the spoons go. Like, he just does not. The kitchen is, I've always said, like, you're going to have a wife one day because you're not going to make it on your own. Like, you need a wife. Okay. You can cook ramen noodles and that's probably about it. But he just says, I'm interested in the kitchen. He'd much rather be outside. While the other one, the youngest one, loves to be in the kitchen. He's always loved helping me cook and make things. And so I had pretty high standards for him bringing his food to me. But it was fun and we graded them and I was super impressed. The mac and cheese had like um really crushed up like fine Doritos sprinkled on top. And I'm like, I wouldn't particularly eat that again, but I was impressed. The noodles were cooked. He made his own cheese sauce. The spaghetti, he added a little bit too much red pepper flake, but the flavor was good. It's just a little hot for me.
Sure.
But Brandon loved that one because he likes spice. But yeah, it was fun. So, anyways, all that to say, my fill up my cup is my kids doing that together. They did that of
Sure.
themselves. They had a good time doing it. It allowed us to have a good time. Whereas I feel like sometimes as a parent, you kind of are like, no, let's not do that because of the mess or the noise
Yeah.
but then you miss out on that moment of like, oh, we all get to laugh at your food.
Hmm.
Or maybe it could have ended up where one of us was puking. It was so
Sure.
bad. Who knows? Which would
Right.
have been entertaining. That would have been
And a
funny.
memory for
And a
sure.
memory. So it filled up my cup to see them doing that together.
Yeah.
And I know those moments are not always going to be there as they get older
Hmm.
and they have to start their own lives.
So
That's not going to be
embrace.
a thing that I'm going to get to witness.
Yeah.
And so it brought me a lot of joy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who won?
I think, well, I can't remember who won. I think the score was pretty close. I think it was like by a half of a point.
Okay.
I want to say the youngest won.
Okay. And what dish did he make?
The spaghetti.
Oh, for
Yeah.
whatever reason, I had it mixed in my head that.
I'll have to ask them. They know who won. I can't
Oh,
quite
I'm sure
remember.
they.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll have to ask.
But I just
them.
figured I wouldn't have had. I wouldn't. I would have thought he would have made the mac and cheese.
No, yeah. No, my youngest made the spaghetti and the older one made the mac and cheese.
That makes
Which,
sense.
when the oldest one told me he was going to make mac and cheese, I'm not very encouraging, I guess, because I'm pretty sure the look on my face was like, okay, you have to like make your own cheese, right? Like you can't just pour shredded cheese on top. But he seemed to already know, so I just didn't give him enough credit. I think
Sure.
I'm going to have to get better at that. Yeah. He's most like me too. So I see a lot of myself in him, which just really gets on my nerves. I get on my nerves. He gets on my nerves, but I love him so much, obviously. But I'm a little tougher on him, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that makes sense because especially if you see a lot of yourself in him.
Yeah, 100%. He's the
Yeah.
male version of me.
Yeah. I like him too, though. That's cool. I love that. I remember I was actually even just thinking this week, I have a memory of we were old enough to drive. Maybe we were even in our 20s already. But I remember there was one Friday night and my sister was just like, we're going to do, we have 30 minutes. We're going to run to Walmart and we have to get something with, like, she gave a list of like 5 things that we had to get.
Yeah.
And whoever like wins, like whoever gets back home within the 30 minutes from this, we're teamed up. I think it was my sister and I, and maybe my brother and his wife. I don't remember all the details of it,
Yeah.
but I just remember her being like, I want to do something fun. And like, she just came up with something like, we're going to like a quick little scavenger hunt type of
Yes.
stuff. I love scavenger hunts.
That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, I just have that memory of like running into what like I remember looking in the craft area because I think we had to find something with like the letter H, and so I remember buying like a wooden H
Sure.
or like numbers that people put on their houses.
Yeah.
Like in the craft, I was like, oh, the craft area, like, but it was so fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you can just, that's the thing. Like, it made me think about that because you can take those ordinary moments, or you can be like, oh yeah, let's not.
Yeah.
If I was a parent, I totally feel like I would be one of those parents of like, no, let's not. But at the same time, today is National Ice Cream Sandwich Day. And yesterday I was talking with my nieces and I was like, are you guys going to celebrate? My niece is like, I don't know, kind of just him hot. Or she's like, I think I've had one before, but I don't, like, they don't have it regularly. I was like, excuse me. Like, if they lived here, I would totally be the aunt that would show up on random days and be like, hey, it's National Ice Cream Sandwich Day. Ice cream sandwiches for everybody. Because I did that when we worked in the office.
Yeah.
National Ice Cream Sandwich Day. I remember National Crayon Day, coloring crayons.
Yeah.
I remember getting coloring books and sets of crayons, boxes of crayons, and putting it on my coworkers' desks.
That's so fun.
Like, there's that side of me too.
Yes.
There's a side of me that's just like, I don't want to deal with the mess and the hassle.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also that side of like, let's celebrate crayons today.
Well, it's almost got to be your idea.
Yes.
Like if it's your idea and you're in the mood for it, okay. But when it's somebody else's idea and you're tired and you don't want to, then you're like, eh.
Yeah, the mood.
Yeah.
Because when my sister suggested that, it was Friday night, kind of bored. Sure.
Yeah,
let's go do it. Now it'd be like,
I don't want to do that. Dressed. I don't want to.
Can I just do a Walmart order?
Yeah. Yeah. Nowadays, that would be the way we do it in 2025. So funny. Do pick up or delivery. Too funny.
Oh, that's cool. That was a good one.
Yeah. What about you? What is yours?
Mine was from a couple weeks ago. I had the opportunity to have lunch with a friend, and her and I don't get together. We don't get a chance to chat a whole lot, but we had an opportunity to get together for lunch, and it was really good. So good, in fact, that it was like a 4-hour long lunch. Like, I got in my car and I was planning on working the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I think that was the initial
Not
plan.
so much anymore.
But I got in my car and I saw what time it was, and I was like, how in the world?
It must have been good.
I thought it was like 2:33. Like, we met at like 12:30.
Yeah.
When we left, it felt like, okay, maybe it's been about 2:30, 3 o'clock. Surely it's no later than 3 o'clock. Get in my car and it's almost 4:30. Sure. I'm sorry, what? But it was one of those like, there wasn't a lull in the conversation. And when the conversation's good, like, time just flies by.
Yeah.
And it was a good conversation, and just enjoyed spending some time with her. But it was one of those things of like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wasn't planning that, but that's okay.
Took you out of work for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
no complaints on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that filled up my cup. It was just one of those things of, sometimes you just need to do that. Kind of like you said, it's unexpected, but sometimes you just need to take the time and enjoy it when it presents itself.
That's true. Yeah. We need to take more moments like that.
Yeah. And not be so live or die by the clock.
Yeah. Yes. That makes me think of one of the teens and their testimony. She had talked about how she's really been trying to live her life as if it were her last. And I know I've had times where I've thought that way too, but then it kind of fades away and you kind of lose sight of that. And it's now sparked, even from you just talking just now. It's like, we need to be present and yes, plan ahead and think about the future and whatnot, but also enjoying what's right now and living, those moments of going to lunch with a friend, go do them. Yes. When those opportunities come up, go. Just go. Even if you don't feel like it. If I didn't feel like listening to my kids downstairs doing the cooking, I would have missed out. And you would have missed out had you not said yes to going.
Right.
We need to take more of those opportunities and do those things.
Yeah. That's been such a struggle. I feel like that's something that I want to attain to, of being just more flexible, more present.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too, is I didn't know what time it was during that lunch because I never took my phone out of my pocket.
That's
maybe
amazing.
It was sitting on the table, but it was upside down. So I never checked the time. And they also don't have a clock in a restaurant
Right.
that I could see
Yeah.
or watch.
Mm.
But because there's so many things that, that kind of demand for our time.
Yeah.
And,
Very true.
but to, yeah, just be able to, I was talking with a family member and they're planning a trip to come and visit. And they're like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I just want to hang out.
Yeah. Just
Like,
be.
I don't want to plan the whole time that you're here.
Right.
There's a few things, if we get them accomplished, great. Most of them involve food and eating,
Yeah.
which was on my to-do list of like, I was asking,
Yeah.
like, what do you want? Where do you
Mm-hmm.
want to eat? Because you don't have everything, things that we have here, you don't always have where
That's right.
you
So
live.
you want to enjoy them when you go to places.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also things I was like, well, we can make this. And they're like, well, that's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work. But if I'm off of work, taking vacation time and I'm not brushed against, I said, I enjoy cooking more when I'm not pressed up against the clock.
Getting off work and now it's like you have this time crunch of getting supper
Yes.
ready.
Yeah. Weekdays feel so full sometimes because I'm on somebody else's schedule. I have to get up and I have to do the things that I want to do. And then I have to start work by this time or I have a meeting. And then, you know, well, if I want to get supper ready by this time, then I need to start cooking now. And then and then we'll do that. And then by the time I was talking with our hairdresser,
Mhm.
and I was like, I was telling her sometimes in my mind, I don't know if I vocalize this, but in my mind, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to see if I can have the dishes and the kitchen all cleaned up by 7. And then I can relax until 8 when I have to do that, you know?
Give myself 1 hour.
Yeah. But she's just like, oh, yeah, my husband and I will do that. She's like, I'll tell you what, we've been done in our PJs by 6:30 before or whatever.
Yeah.
Some early times.
Wow.
Kudos. Like, what a brag.
Yeah. No kidding. That's
When you're in your
impressive.
40s, like that's the stuff that you brag about. We ate supper
Oh.
and we were done in our PJs and watching our show by 6:30. It's impressive. Way to
That's
go.
funny. We don't even eat dinner till 6:30 half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just feels like, I don't know, there's just work and then
Mhm.
all the stuff that goes into just daily life,
That's right.
And then you find yourself at the end of the day and it's like, where did the day go?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, where am I supposed to find time for other people?
Right. Well, take the moments like you did when
Take the
you're
moments as
asked.
they come.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to be a little spontaneous too.
Yeah,
And oh, yeah, it takes work though to
it
do that.
does. It can, but it's usually always worth it.
It is. Yeah, you miss out on the good moments
Yeah,
that you
you
can
can miss
have.
out on good moments. Well, that was a lot longer than I thought. But
Yeah,
let's
that's
get
fun.
into our topic. You ready?
Okay. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, let's go. Okay, Summers. Joy comes in the morning. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. So, as you were thinking about this verse and this topic, what are some things that came to mind for you?
Honestly, the first thing that came to my mind was I had to go and look it up, and it's in John 16:21, where it talks about a woman when she is in travail hath sorrow, because her hour is come, but as soon as she is delivered of the child, she remembereth no more the anguish for the joy that a man is born into the world. And so I thought about how childbirth, like the pain and the length of time and just all the things. It's like you're carrying this extra weight for 9 months. And then, the delivery itself is difficult. But then when the baby comes, you kind of forget about all of that.
Yep.
And I liken that to things in life. When you talked about earlier, whenever you were introducing the topic, you know, things happen in our life at times, and it can almost feel like you can't see the joy. You can't see the joy that's up ahead, but it does come, whether in this life or in the next if you're saved. I know there's been many times where I have cried myself to sleep too. And weeping endureth for a night. I don't know why it's got to be at night and we talk about crying on your pillow and stuff, but I've been there multiple times in life. And in the morning, it's not necessarily that the joy is there, but I think because of the time that's gone by and you're not in it right in the moment, there is a bit of relief in the start to a new day. It's a time to start fresh. I feel like, someone talks about joy in the morning. Mornings are the start to a new day. And the
A
Bible
blank
talks
slate lays ahead of you, you
exactly.
know?
And it's a chance to make it different that day. You can make different choices that day. Even the Bible talks about how the Lord's mercies are new every morning. And so that's a promise that we have. The Bible also says that his mercy endures forever. We're never going to run out of mornings where his mercy's not there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I don't know, there's just something about that these things that we go through are not going to last forever. There will be a time of joy. And sometimes, like, I think about a friend of mine, you had brought up cancer earlier. A friend of mine has cancer. She has tumors in her kidneys and in her lungs and in her brain. And the one in her brain they're not able to operate on it. And so she's been doing good these last 2 years, and now she's not doing so well. And so I went to go visit her this week, and I, I don't know, there's a heaviness, like you said, this week. There's just been so much going on. And I have felt that too. And I think about her and how her life just so quickly changed. For her, I remember we were working together and she had some like numbness and tingling in her arms, the bottom half of her arms. And one of our coworkers was like, "You need to go get that checked out." Well, 2 weeks go by. That's the earliest she can get an appointment. Turns out just this little numbness in her and tingling in her hands and stuff. She goes in and her body is filled with tumors, you know? And so they did some treatments and she was getting better. Obviously still declined. I mean, she hasn't been able to work since. And so just her life turned upside down very
Yep.
quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's not doing well again. The treatment's not really, from my understanding, the treatment's not working anymore. The tumors are continuing to grow. So that's causing some more side effects and whatnot. But I went to go see her and I just thought about how I bet she faces a lot of challenges and I bet she's had many weeping nights. And I don't know if she's saved or not. I have been praying for her and I have witnessed to her before, but I do want her to know that she can have joy in the morning when this that she's in right now is done.
Yeah. Yep.
Because we all have an appointed time. I know she's going through this, but I could pass before her. You know what I'm saying? So tomorrow is not promised. And I want her to be able to have confidence in knowing that when this is done for her, she will have joy.
Yeah.
Joy will come in the morning and it's an eternal joy.
Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
so those are the thoughts that I had this week about this. Just we're not in these things forever.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of had a similar thought, thinking about this topic because I did feel that sense of heaviness. And I thought of, we have a very close friend of ours that, she got a phone call a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
About a week and a half ago. And, in the afternoon and your world changes,
Yep.
priorities change. Things that were important fade.
Yeah.
Things that you thought were important, have a tendency to fade when you get a call of, hey, your grandson's being delivered early because there's issues.
11 weeks early.
11 weeks early. And so, yeah, the priorities change. And so it kind of made me think about those moments, those like life when your world changes. And it made me actually think about when my grandmother on my mom's side passed away, my world changed.
Yeah.
She had moved when my mom grew up in Ohio. And the Lord moved her out to Montana. And actually that's where my dad was. And then they met out there. And I kind of love that story of like, they both showed up in small town Montana within months of each other probably. And then they met pretty quickly. And then next thing you know, like the 80s were quick for them. Like they met and they got married and they started their family and then boom, 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 they started having kids. And yeah, but she moved out to Montana when I was just a baby, real young. And so she lived with us and she was like another parent. That's kind of that I'm thankful because that's the closeness that I felt with her.
Sure.
And I think my siblings would agree with that they felt that too. And most people don't get that with their grandparent,
right.
But her and my mom had experienced a lot of loss. And so that's who they had. They had each other. And so I'm thankful that she did that. And all those most childhood memories. She lived with us for a couple years, and then she got a place of her own and stuff like that. And then when we moved out to North Dakota, within a year or so, she moved out as well. And so just always got to be around her. But I specifically remember and recall the day that she passed. And it was the Saturday before, my freshman year of high school. And, you know, you have the day planned.
Yeah.
And my sister and I were dropped off at the mall. We were getting stuff for school supplies and things like that. My parents were doing some errands, and they were going to do some canning with my grandma.
Mhm.
We're going to can some salsa and stuff. And my brother was at work. And then my parents came to, and there was all kinds of different things going on that day. But I remember getting picked up, and it was an eventful morning for my sister and I at the mall. But we get in the vehicle, and my sister just starts telling my parents what happened that morning. And my dad's like, hey, grandma passed away or whatever.
Hmm.
And I just remember everything fading out, the things and the events that had happened that morning that seemed so important,
Yeah.
no longer important.
Right. Not even on the mind.
And I just remember I remember going home, and I think I've probably mentioned this before, but I go to bed. And I just remember going to bed.
Sure.
And that's the safe place, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's the security place. That's the place of comfort, physical,
Right.
But, and then I remember having to start school, and first day of school, but life changed.
Right.
Up until then, Granny was in my life.
Yeah.
Now I was living in a world where Granny wasn't here,
Right.
and it just made me think of, I know several people that have had those moments, that have lived those moments of losing a parent or both parents, losing a child, and going through that and walking through that. It's really hard when your world changes like that, when you experience something like that. It's really hard to ever think that you're going to experience joy again.
Yeah.
When you're in it. So sometimes that's what comes to my mind when I think of that verse of weeping may endure for a night. And it may not be a literal night, because it might be weeks, months, years that you're weeping. And not to say that weeping is ever necessarily going to go away, but now it'll be, I think I was telling you earlier, it's either 20, I think it's 25, maybe 26 years since my grandma passed. But now I can look back and I have joy.
Right. Yes.
When she comes to mind.
Mhm.
There's still some sorrow there. I always wonder, what would Granny think of my life now? Or,
Sure.
we've talked about cruise night, and cruise night is coming up.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my mom, we went earlier this year. And I remember telling my mom, I was like, Granny would love this. Granny would love sitting here watching these cars and listening to these tunes and just getting out on a nice warm summer evening. She would love it. And my mom was like, yeah, she would. And it was just one of those things of there's a little bit of sorrow, but I'm thankful for that promise of joy. And even we've talked about battling depression.
Yeah.
When I've been in the depths of depression, joy is the furthest thing that I think I could have the capability of feeling.
Right. You don't feel like you're even able to touch it at all.
No.
Yeah.
It is the furthest thing away from me when I'm in those moments and in those days and hours and weeks and, but there's that promise. And so sometimes when you're in those moments, when you're in that hospital room and joy feels like the furthest thing, or you see people laughing and you think, man, it must be nice to be them.
Sure. Right.
They look like they don't have a care in the world, and here you are with the weight of the world upon you. But weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. There's comfort in that verse. And that verse it's a promise. And like you mentioned too, time doesn't heal. They say time heals all wounds. Time can soften the blow.
Yes.
But I don't necessarily know if time, I don't think you can get scars.
Yes. Right.
So you have the reminder. It might be healed up, but you have that scar of that hurt or that,
right.
Time. But joy, with time, joy comes along.
Yeah.
When you travel down enough time.
Right.
From, like you talked about, you're maybe not in it at the moment, but later you're able to experience
Joy.
that joy.
For
And
sure.
I'm thankful for that because I have clung to that verse.
Yeah.
There's been times where I've been dealing with depression or things like that. And weeping, yep, it's right there.
Yeah.
I'm trying everything in my being to keep the tears controlled,
Right.
So I can relate to that side of that verse.
Yeah. I think too, I've been watching a show, and it just reminded me that, when Jesus was going to the cross, he was weeping and he was in anguish and he felt sorrow in that time, knowing what was coming. And he asked the Lord to take it from him. If there be another way, Lord, take this cup from me. And I'm paraphrasing, but he asked for that and he didn't. He had to go through that, but we are all able to experience the joy of salvation because of what he did for us. And so I think the Lord, well, I know the Lord can relate to that. That's why he's got it in there. Weeping endures for a night, but joy comes in the morning. He feels that with us. I don't know. It's just a good reminder that the Lord, he is God, but he's also experienced that too.
Yes.
Where things change or you go through hard things, but joy's on the other side of it.
Yeah, it makes me think of that verse, Nehemiah 8, verse 10. And the last half of that, or last part of it, is, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. I'm thankful for that promise in Psalm 30, that the joy will come in the morning. So joy is obtainable, and it's obtainable through the Lord. And the joy of the Lord is my strength. And so therefore, through him, he is my rock and my deliverer. Like I even thought, Psalm 30, verse 1 through 5, I will extol thee, O Lord, for thou hast lifted me up, and thou hast not made my foes to rejoice over me. Verse 2, O Lord my God, I cried unto thee, and thou hast healed me. O Lord, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down to the pit. Sing unto the Lord, O ye saints of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness. That's helpful. And then verse 5, for his anger endureth but for a moment. In his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. So he is my strength.
Yes.
The joy of the Lord is my strength. And so he can strengthen me in those moments where I feel so incredibly weak and joy feels so far away.
Right.
But he can be my strength. He is my strength. And he can bring that joy. And I'm so thankful that we have that joy to look forward to.
Yes, me too.
It'll be good.
Me too.
Okay, anything else that you have for that topic?
That's all I got.
Well, then we're going to go ahead and swing right into our gratitude moment. Okay, Summer, what are you thankful for, or what's your gratitude moment for today?
I am thankful for summertime because there's things that we in North Dakota can do in the summer that we can't do in the winter, like swimming.
Such as?
And gardening.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's just all kinds of things that we just don't get an opportunity to do. I've obviously been in my garden and pulling fruit off, and that brings me a lot of joy. I never thought I would be a gardener. I never knew that I would have a garden. And I mean, because I never liked vegetables. That's actually why I didn't like vegetables. And until I cleaned up my gut a couple years ago, and now vegetables actually taste good. They don't taste like dirt.
And realize that you weren't allergic to cucumbers?
And I'm not actually allergic to cucumbers. Exactly.
Didn't you say that? Didn't you say that?
Yeah,
I don't think I'm allergic.
Anytime somebody had me try something, I'm like, I'm allergic. Because then if you tell them you're allergic, then they don't ask anymore. And so I was a liar. Okay, I lied. I think they know, though. I think I would smirk, people too would be like, really? If they say really, then I'm like, no, not really, but I just don't like it. And I don't want you to ask me to try it. I don't want to. Just let me live in this, okay? I don't like vegetables. But yeah, I've really enjoyed being in my garden and pulling stuff off and cooking with it. That's a blessing. There's something about that. The world needs to garden. We need to have more gardeners, and pulling your own fruit and vegetables from the garden and cooking with it. I just think it's really neat. And so that's not my gratitude necessarily, but just being able to do things in the summer. I'm thankful for the summertime, swimming, gardening. I mean, there's tons of other things too that we just don't get to do.
Right.
We can be outside.
Yes.
And not freeze to death or be windburned.
Yes.
We get to have sunburns instead.
Right.
Which come very quickly for us up here in the north.
Yeah.
For my skin tone
Especially
anyway.
those who are
Pale skinned?
fair skinned. Yeah.
That's me. But I was told yesterday by one of the teens that we were hanging out together, and she's like, "You're looking so tan this summer." And I was like, "Gardening. That's what I'm doing. I'm gardening." And then she's like, "We have a glow." And I'm like, "Thank you."
Oh, wow.
So sweet. I like to have a glow. Enjoy it now, because in a couple months, it's
Right.
going to be gone. And in fact, every time I shave my legs, sorry, men, every time I shave my legs, I feel like more and more of my color is going off. I need to go back outside. That's just the truth of it. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to you. What's your gratitude moment?
Well, my gratitude is I had a friend recently give me flowers from her garden.
Is that what she brought?
Yes.
Those were flowers from her garden?
Yes. You didn't know that?
No, I thought she was bringing you flowers because she was just being sweet, which she is totally sweet. And for her to bring them from her garden is even sweeter.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Because she sends me pictures of these flowers.
That was a beautiful bouquet.
Oh, beautiful. And I mean, this woman's got talent up the wazoo.
Yeah, she's very talented. She's a gardener. She's a really good gardener.
Yes. I mean, she's got greener thumbs than the Hulk. But she's very gifted. But that's what her passion is. She's very passionate about it. But she will send me some pictures sometimes of these beautiful flowers. And I love it. I love that she shares those pictures with me. But then I was walking into church the other night, and here she had a mason jar full of beautiful, beautiful flowers. And so I carefully seatbelted them in to take them home and held my little hand over, drove one-handed to protect them because I wanted to bring them home safely. And I walked through my mom's, those are gorgeous. Well, they're from,
garden.
But it was funny though, because here's the thing that I just think is neat. So I got into embroidery last year, and there's a pattern of a mason jar with wildflowers in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had done one for a friend and I really liked it. And I thought, I'm going to get another kit and I'm going to do it and keep it for myself because it's really cute. And it's colorful and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually was showing it to my mom, and my mom was just like, "Oh, that's really cute. Do you want it? Sure, I'll make it for you." "No, you don't have to. You don't have." I will. So I'm going to work on that for my mom. But I think I'd shown that kit to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when she handed because you were there when she handed me the flowers, you're just like, "Hey, it looks just like the one from that kit that you showed me, like your picture that you're working on." Yeah. And I don't know. I just like how all of that hits, and ties together.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's this design that I am admiring and want to work on to embroider.
And she brought it to you in real life.
And she brings me the real life version.
I love those flowers though. Those were just beautiful.
Yeah. But I don't know, just the thought that she went out there and she picked them and she put them in jar, and just all those little things mean the world to me. Like, because that's what I think of. Like, this is not simply just I don't know. I just like those little things. All the thoughtfulness.
There's a little bit more effort that she had to put in.
Well, and she could have kept them. She could have enjoyed them for herself.
That's true.
Or given them to anybody else.
Yeah.
But she gave them to me.
That's so sweet.
And it made me feel very loved.
Yeah.
And so I love her.
She is super talented though. She's actually the person who taught me how to can my first jars of salsa. Yep.
She's talented. And Lord willing, she'll be a guest. Hopefully our listeners will be able to meet her.
Yeah, that would be fun.
She's the one that we want to have on next. Yeah. So I feel like I talk about her quite a bit on here. I know she's a regular listener, so she knows exactly who she is. Funny. But yeah, looking forward to that. So
good deal.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for us this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe and share with others. Join us over on Instagram at
Strength and Sisterhood Pod.
And leave us a comment if you liked this episode. You can also reach us at
strengthandsisterhoodpod@gmail.com.
or find us on Spotify, Amazon, Substack, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. We would love to hear from you. So until next time, we'll see you later.
Bye.
See ya.